All right, so just going back to our game with UConn, great win, great to be 1-0. Anytime you can go on the road and your opener and play a clean game. I think it's the first opening game I've had with only one penalty. And officiating, I thought, these guys let the kids play. It was refreshing to be in a game like that. I thought both sides were able to play physical. We only had one turnover. It was a stop on down, so nothing on offense turnover-wise, +1 in the turnover margin with 200 yards rushing. So, if you talk about going on the road, only having one penalty, not turning the ball over, and having 200 yards rushing, that's a great recipe for winning. And like many openers, it was a game of adjustments. UConn is a much improved team. I thought their staff did a nice job not only recruiting but developing their players and did a lot of new things in that first quarter on offense. And defensively, felt like we adjusted well after the first drive. And it was a good line of scrimmage game. I thought UConn's front, their offensive line was big, experienced. Defensive line was all returning starters, big, experienced guys. So it was a good matchup inside. I thought their running back, number 22, was really impressive for them. It was good to see, for me, just to see how our offense flows and how Robert calls a game. First time working with him on a game day. So for me, it was great to see how he is. And it was obviously, it was impressive to watch just how he calls it. Positives on offense, we were very efficient on first and second down, which gave ourselves a lot of manageable third downs. Brennan played a good game. Definitely some plays I know he'd like to have back, but with 65% completion rate, he moved the ball with his arm and his legs and competed, brought some energy, and his personality is able to come out when you get to see him compete like that. As an offense, I thought, it was probably the best we've played when it comes to making the first man miss. That area of our game has to be better, and it was better in this game than it had been. And that's how you get explosive plays, and that was good to see. The end of half, we had a 2-minute drive opportunity, drove the ball down the field, got a field goal before the half, which was great to see. I thought our backs, we played a lot of guys in the backfield. They all ran the ball hard, took care of the football, and were productive. A lot of guys touched the ball. He spread the ball around, got a lot of guys involved. And we started the game fast with a touchdown. It was a great response after giving up a touchdown on the opening drive defensively. Negatives, we were stopped on short yardage twice in an area that we pride ourselves in and need to be better. Did a couple good things in short yardage, a couple bad things, so we got to get better there. The drive killers in the game, we had a couple drops, a couple times we could have been more accurate, and one where we just missed a throw. But definitely those areas can improve. On defense, had a nice takeaway to seal the game with Peyton. Like I said, I think after the first series, we settled in. The next 5 possessions were punts by UConn, had 3 3-and-outs, 2 sacks, forced fumble by Red Hibbler. And for the first game compared to a year ago, I thought we tackled much better in the opener. I think our things we learned from last year's opener and applied to this year's training camp were good decisions. We definitely hit enough, tackled enough to be ready to play a game. Defensively, no penalties in the game. Played really clean. Negatives, gave up an explosive play for a touchdown on the long run, and obviously good job by them. But for us, a couple guys out of their gaps. They had a motion where we adjusted and didn't get the proper depth at safety, which put us in a bad position to get the guy down as an overlap player. So definitely a play we can learn from, and disappointed that it occurred. On special teams, I thought Julian Gray really returned the ball well. He was hard to tackle. He was explosive, set up the offense twice with good returns. And then our kicker, missed his first try, a 50-yarder, and then bounced back with a 44-yard make right before the half. So that was great to see his response. It was good having Cecil Powell back on special teams. He was a difference maker for us in our coverage units. So now, opportunity to come home and play a game against a great opponent, 12 o'clock kick. And I know that's not anything people are excited about. It is what it is. So with that, we need Wolfpack Nation to set their alarms a little earlier, Get up early, maybe before you go to bed, have everything ready to go, get here on time so that you can get your tailgate on, or, come in the night before even and have an overnight in the parking lot would be good. But we need you to be a part of this one big time. And complimentary football for us, it's offense, defense, special teams, and then that juice that we get from our sideline and our fans and our student section. And so we're excited, and excited for you to see the new Jumbotron, hear the new sound system. I think both of those things are going to add to our game day environment, which is already electric as it is. And so excited to get back into the Carter. For us as a team, we're going to stress the details and the fundamentals. Like, this is a game, it's going to be a physical game, playing against a really good team. But just to get better from week 1 to week 2, it's the little things that matter most, the details, your fundamentals, and you can't get away from that. That's how you improve. And we're playing a 2-0 football team, Notre Dame, that has an exceptional quarterback that we know a lot about with Sam Hartman. He's playing really good, not a surprise. Really good offensive line. Maybe the best O-line running back combo that we'll see all year with these guys. Their backs, they play multiple backs. They're big guys. They have good balance. They're well coached. And they won their first 2 games combined 98-6. And so they've done well in their first 2 outings, very well. Defensively, they're aggressive. They're sound. And 2 really good linebackers. As a former linebacker coach, I enjoy watching that. And number 27, Bertrand, and number 8, Marist play. Their 2 linebackers are active. They use their hands. They play hard. Their defensive end that transferred from Ohio State, number 1, is a difference maker for them. And then their boundary corner, number 20, comes in, had 6 interceptions, really good football player last year. So it's a good team. And, I think it's exciting to play against them. A team we don't get to play a lot, a team that, rotates through our league and plays 5 games a year. So it's our turn to get an opportunity to compete with them, and super excited about the test. It's going to be a really physical game for sure. A lot of good players, good coaches. I think Marcus Freeman's done a really good job, going into his second year. He had some staff turnover, and sometimes that's hard, when you get particularly in coordinator positions. He's done a nice job replacing good coaches with good coaches. I'm very familiar with some of them. Joe Rudolph, their O-line coach, is an exceptional coach. We were together at Wisconsin. So, top 10 team coming to town. Our top 15 team, not sure where they're ranked coming out of today's polls, but this is what you play and coach for, and looking forward to having them in our stadium. Questions?
Dave, with the first game of offensive Brandon under Coach and I, when you guys watched tape, what did you like about sort of the way the team had adjusted to the first time out there with the lights on running it?
Well, like I said at the beginning, it's game 1 on the road, 40 new players, 2 new coaches. Didn't look like it was our first time playing in a game. I thought we were efficient. We were clean. There wasn't a lot of mistakes. There's things we got to do better, like I mentioned, throw location, catching balls, making layups, things like that. But the guys did a good job getting the players ready. The players did a good job learning the system for the first game. I watched a lot of college football with us playing on a Thursday night and seeing a lot of other people's first games. I thought we looked pretty clean, and so that compared to other people that are doing the same thing, you could tell that our coaches did a good job.
Missing games this past weekend or this past week. What is their status for this coming up Saturday?
Yeah, they're on the depth chart for a reason. So, Lyndon is back. He practiced yesterday, so excited that he's back with us. And Savion should be full go, So we're just going through the protocol with these guys, but I put them on there for a reason, not trying to be tricky.
To watch a lot of
Yeah, I got to see quite a bit of college football. We did come in Saturday, and we had obviously the ability. Playing on Thursday, Friday, we broke ourselves down. Saturday we broke down Notre Dame's previous game against Navy, and then went home and watched them play live to see them, in live mode. Sometimes you can pick up some things that you don't get on the coach's copy. So watched that, and then in the evening I was able to watch some of the games that were on and study as a coach, watching college football. Was able to go to my son's game Friday night, which I'm not going to get to do a ton, so that was awesome to get to see him play. And then we were in here like you normally would be yesterday and got a good practice in, and was able to break down, their game against Tennessee State from Saturday in here yesterday. So I feel like we got a good blend of, getting ahead, but also, using that time appropriately with our staff and our players to get a little recovery there, getting home at 3:30 in the morning after the game.
Thank you. Thoughts on Sam Darnold and the difference that he brings to that Notre Dame offense with this being his first year with that program?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. He's been a really good player for a long time. He's a winner, champion in high school, and we all know what he did at Wake. And so you can see his confidence and how he manages their offense and, gets the ball to the right people, makes plays with his feet when he needs to, and he's got a nice cast around him, so they're definitely able to help him in other ways, with their run game and big tight ends and things that they do. So a great addition to their offense, and obviously they're playing well with him.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
James?
Yeah, Dave, there's been the time changes in terms of the rules and the way the clock's being handled now is different this year. Did you notice that much during the game in terms of not stopping first down, and how do you feel it's going to impact games going forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's 15 fewer plays per game on average, 3 possessions that you're losing in a football game. And so it's definitely noticeable. I mean, our first quarter was over after 3 possessions total at UConn. They had a long drive where they ran the football. We did the same. And I looked up, and there was 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first quarter after the first 2 touches for each team. First 1 touch for each team, And so, yeah, and then we had 4 TV timeouts per quarter, 16 television timeouts in our game. But we're going to be excited about that and take football out of the game. I think it's sad that that's what's happened. But it's the way it goes, People want a shorter game, but they want more commercials within the game. As a football team now, you have to understand fewer possessions. Each possession is critical for both teams. The offense and the defense, both sides of your football team. And you don't have as many opportunities to score points that you did before. Less touches is going to equal less points in a lot of cases. Not all, but, if you're playing a pretty clean football game and you're used to having, 10 to 12 possessions per game, you're probably looking at, 8 to 10 now. So it'll take time to get used to, but it's just the way things are.
Appreciate it.
Brian?
Yeah, Coach, I appreciate it. Seems that we talk about conference strength and what teams in your conference do more than ever. So kind of a 2-parter. One, do you care about that? Is it helpful to you that Florida State and North Carolina had big wins against SEC teams? And then secondly, I think Notre Dame's 28-2 against ACC teams since 2018. How important is it for the league to start to win some of these games against Notre Dame?
Well, part one, yeah, I think it's great. Anytime our league wins games, I mean, that's good for the ACC. And to be 2-0 against the SEC over the weekend is good for the ACC. As far as Notre Dame goes, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who we play as a league. We want to do well. We want to perform well. We want to win games. And this team that we're playing against is, quasi in our league, in and out, however you want to say that. Yeah, we need to perform better against them. There's no doubt about it.
Jaden?
Going back to Stanford, obviously y'all played against him before when he was at Wake. Even though he's in a new system, do you feel like it's an advantage to see a quarterback you're familiar with?
Probably it is and it isn't. I mean, it's a different system, so what they're asking him to do, how you defended him in Wake's offense is different than how you defend him in this one because of the run game, the play action game, the things that are unique about Notre Dame's system. And Wake's system was completely different. But we do know from experience what kind of player he is, and there's a great amount of respect, from our staff towards that young man. And so we do know, what we've done well and what we haven't done well over the years against them. And so there is some, good knowledge in that.
James?
Hey, yeah, Dave, it felt like you guys had maybe an abnormal amount of short yardage plays in this game. I don't know if that's accurate or not. It just seemed like there was a lot of them. Did it allow you to evaluate some formations and different things maybe a little earlier than normal?
Well, that means you're doing well on first and second down, James, right? Like if you're in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, that's good. That's what you want. And so first and second down efficiency is really important in our offense, and staying on that kind of, if you're doing it right, you'll see a lot of that. And so, yes, to answer your question, we did have a lot of them. I hope we continue to. It did allow us to see short yardage formations and plays and, areas that we succeeded, areas we didn't. Things we got to do better. Goal line as well. We had a lot more plays inside the 5-yard line probably than you saw in some of our games. So it's great film. I mean, there's nothing better than game film to look at yourself. And as coaches, as players, and then you have plays that work, and what plays can we run off of these plays? Because if they're plays that don't work, you probably don't run them again anyway. So your successful plays just gives you a chance to kind of build volume and really with your players, like, here's what you did well on this play, and the ones that didn't, here's what we got to do better, and here's how we're going to do it, and map that plan out for them so that we can improve.
And just to follow up, I know you mentioned all during fall camp, Brandon's ability to run the football, but kind of seeing it from the field live in game action for you guys for the first time, what was that like, just kind of seeing that impact from him, extending drives and making plays? Yeah.
It's what I hoped would happen, to be honest. Like, you saw it all through camp. Didn't know how the contact piece would come in. But he enjoys the physicality of football, and he can make things happen. A lot of his rushing yards were self-manufactured scrambles, right? So it wasn't just calling QB run game. There was a couple designed runs for him, but most of it was just drop back and things aren't there, So he adds an element to the game that allows you to call plays, and sometimes he just makes it a better play, and he's just got to continue to be smart with the football and protect the football and manage, that part of the game. I thought he did a great job of that in this one because he's not afraid to take contact, and so he's got to do a really good job being smart about it.
Appreciate it.
Kate?
Coach, on Thursday, obviously, Peyton Wilson did a miss a beat with a 10-tackle interception. Kind of a two-parter. Number one, how proud are you of him to come out and have such a dominant game, set the tone of the season? And within that, how much do you land or lean on his leadership coming into such a big-time matchup for Saturday versus Notre Dame?
Yeah, first of all, he did play really well. It was fun to see him playing ball like that. He's all over the field, getting off blocks, tackled well in the box and in space, and got his hand on a couple balls in pass coverage, had a great interception, and brought tremendous leadership on our punt team. He did a great job as our personal protector. And so Peyton's presence is very felt there. Second part is, his presence is really felt off the field too. He's commanding this football team in ways that he never has vocally. And so I'm very proud of him for that, and it's fun to see that growth in him. I think, when he decided to come back, one of the things he wanted to become was a better leader, and he's doing that. And so we're going to need that. This is going to be a game of ups and downs. There's going to be momentum that swings back and forth throughout the game. Your leaders have to really show up in games like this because it's going to take that. You're going to have moments where you need that, where he can calm things down and get guys going and then be a spark. So we're excited. I know he's excited for this game. Not that he's not for all of them, because he understands the value of playing because he's had the game taken from him enough. But big games like this, these are special things for kids.
Ethan Hill.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering if there's any update on Rock and how he's doing.
You bet. Yeah, Rock's good. They kept him there to do all the tests, and every one of them came back the way you would want. And so he's back with us. He will not play this week. He's going to need at least a week probably to shake that one off. I would equate that to a whiplash type thing, and so pretty sore, and just got to get the soreness out and, get him back to who he was. He'll play again, all that, and just don't know how long it's going to take, but as far as things could have been, he came out of it as good as it could have been, and so, disappointing act that took place there, and, just thankful that he's okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Brian.
Yeah, Coach, I wondered if you had any thoughts on the additions of Stanford and Cal and SMU, and I wonder if Chancellor Woodson or Bill Gordon talked to you about it before they made their decision.
We all know why the decisions were made, and so it really doesn't matter how I feel about it. From a college football standpoint, that's what everyone is doing, right? They're adding teams that are coast to coast and making their leagues bigger, and I can understand the rationale behind it with what just happened in the Pac-12. A couple teams left and the league fell apart, and so they're adding stability to the league by getting bigger. And financially, I don't really know because I haven't been told all the ins and outs detail-wise. I'm sure that'll come out to public at some point on all the things that come with this deal. To be honest, I've had my head down trying to get our football team ready, and that stuff really doesn't mean a lot to me. For us, we're going to go play one game maybe every other year out there, maybe. And so it'd be fun to go show the guys the Golden Gate Bridge, I guess, and see Cali a little bit. And they're the teams that have the struggle, like having to travel all the time. For us, it's a one-off going out there.
Davey.
Hey, Dave, I wanted to get a question in with you. Going back to Brandon Armstrong and thinking about how he enjoys the physical contact, even if he's just scrambling out of the pocket and, going down and getting those rushing yards. Is that going to be a X-22 type of situation for you? Knowing that you can use him as a weapon with his running ability, but at the same time, you kind of have to protect him because he's arguably your best player on offense and the one who will give you the most production. So how will you attack that, moving forward this season?
Yeah, you're right. I think it's some of it's out of my control. When a guy takes off scrambling, he's scrambling. And so that's part of who he is, man. And you got to let the kid be who he is as a player. When it comes to the designed runs, that's where we got to be smart. We got to know what kind of position we're putting them in on those plays and try to get him enough blocking in front of him and different things like that. It's not a deal where we want him in a designed run game all the time taking those hits. When you drop back and throw and there's not as many parts because people are playing coverage, it's a little different, when a guy, and he can dive and get away from the contact. He has to do a good job in those scenarios of not putting himself at risk. I know if it's a short yardage thing where he needs 1 yard to get it, or it's a goal line thing where he's straining to score, he's going to play with contact. That's just how he is. When it's not, then he's got to play for the next down, and be smart about it. And you saw that in the game. He did a good job of sliding and keeping himself out of contact when he could. But you're right, it's anytime you have a guy that runs like that, it's tough. It's tough for the defense. It's also tough for you as a quarterback and as a coach because we want him to be able to play every game and stay healthy. And so he understands. He's been doing this a long time. When you talk to him about it, he understands when and when not to, barrel down versus, get himself down.
Corey.
Dave, you mentioned how strong this offensive line is for Notre Dame and potentially getting a guy like Savion Jackson back for this game. How big would it be to have that defensive line at full strength heading into the
Yeah, we're going to need them. Their O-line's really good. I mean, they're talented and big, and they're well coached, and so it's one of those games in the box, where it's going to be a game of will in there, imposing will and leverage, strength, fundamentals, inside hands, pad level. It's going to be awesome, in the box. It's definitely going to be a game where we got to strain, and having a guy like Savion helps because he is really, really good player, and he adds to what we have in that box. So hopefully we will have him. That's the plan, and looking forward to seeing him back out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
James?
Dave, when you watched the game back, you didn't have a lot of explosive vertical plays in this game. Was that dictated by their coverage? What did you see watching the tape back?
Yeah, I think, a couple things. We had some shots called, and they were covered, and so good job by them. I think there was a couple times we did throw the ball down the field and didn't connect in the game. We had one called that was wide open, and Brennan took off running on that play. So that would have been a vertical shot we would have hit. So it just didn't work out that way. I know, you guys have watched Robert's offenses enough to know that he does like to push the ball down the field, and it just didn't happen. Their corners and their safeties did a nice job of playing with depth on some things and having help when they needed it. But, yeah, most of our explosiveness, and we didn't have a ton either today. I think the defenses both tackled somewhat well for a first game, was underneath stuff. That's where you saw first guy miss, second guy miss, third guy miss in some cases. But, yeah, we do need to be able to push the ball down the field a little bit more.
Do we have any other questions for Coach? All right.
Thank you all.
Thank